Welcome back to another episode of Logan's Lowdown, the podcast where I sit down and talk to people that I find interesting, business owners, creators, friends, family, everybody in between. This is their platform to talk to me about whatever they want. Today I'm joined by uh, someone who fits into a lot of those
Yeah, I
categories.
was gonna say, where do I fit in?
No, I know. Business owner,
Friend.
friends, borderline family,
Yeah.
all of that, all
Yeah.
of that. That's Miss Lisa Ingalls. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Logan.
We have talked about doing this for so long,
Oh my god, I know. Finally,
and
finally.
it's finally happening. How are you
Yes.
today?
I am doing well. I am in sunny Arizona. It's probably about 80 today. I left the cold winter of Park City to come here for the weekend and enjoy some sunshine. So it's nice.
Yeah, I'd say so. Geez, I'll take 80 and some sunshine.
Yeah. But I gotta go back to the snow and cold tomorrow,
Oh
so
no, no, no.
yeah, so
Um, so I don't even know. So I guess we should start about how we met originally, which was a long time ago.
very, very long time ago.
Probably
You were
uh,
6 maybe?
I
7?
was I was in when we lived there in Phoenix, I was in 6th grade. So I would have been 12.
Oh, okay.
I was a
Alright.
little older. I know my siblings were like 6 and
Yes.
7 and such, but yeah, I think I was around 10, 12-ish. Um,
So
which is
crazy.
crazy because that was like 20 years ago almost.
I know, and how we ended up reconnecting is just so bizarre.
What a weird.
And I think how we reconnected was your parents were in Nashville.
Mhm.
And we ended up hooking up with them and, the 4 of us being crazy like we were, and then they came out to Utah and visited, and then this whole podcast and websites and everything, you and I just became really good friends, and you've helped us a lot.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, what a coincidence that you guys were there the same weekend and you saw each other's posts on
Yeah,
probably Instagram or something
yeah, yeah.
and said, "Holy crap, I can't believe we're in the same place at the same
Logan,
time." I
Stephanie
know, right?
are here.
So, so then, yeah, mom said, "Hey, you should text Lisa. She's got all these things going on. I'm sure you can be a resource maybe
Yeah, a
if
big
she needs it."
resource. Yeah.
And yeah, we just connected ever since, and now we talk weekly pretty much.
I know.
So
Exactly, exactly, and then your parents and sister are coming out next week to see us,
I
and
know.
yeah,
So
so you were
it's just
supposed to be on that trip, but it didn't work out, so
it's okay. Next time.
yeah,
Next
exactly.
time. Absolutely. Um,
So,
so
yeah.
this is we're actually recording remotely for the first time in a while. And it's actually looking pretty good. This platform has made a lot of improvements since the last time I used it, which is great.
Oh, good, okay.
Um, so thank you for your time today.
Of course, of course.
So you got a lot going on. So
Yeah.
how I guess let's kind of start where we started when we reconnected, and you are known on social media as the Young Goat Addict. Do you want to talk a little bit about Young Goat, how you became involved with that, and everything in between?
Sure, sure. So, I had just lost my sister. It was 4 years ago Friday, and that's one of the reasons I'm in Arizona is to spend that day with my family.
Hmm.
And, she died suddenly, unexpected, and I, of course she was my only sibling, so took it extremely hard. And, I was lost. I, didn't live in Arizona, so I had to go back to Utah with just me and my husband, Victor, and I didn't have a purpose. I just like I said, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. And then the pandemic hit. So now here I'm grieving my sister and I can't, fly to visit my family. We're all on lockdown, everything. Well, on social media, I came across this company called Youngo out of the UK that their mantra was basically be a goat, be the best of your ability. And I read and they gave a lot back to mental health. And, my sister had a lot of mental health issues. And this company just fascinated me. And I don't even know why. And it was 6 guys from the UK that started this. They were football players, which here soccer players, and they used to call each other goat, goat, and so they're like, hey, we should start a clothing company. Had no clue about clothing or anything, so started this clothing company. Well, one day I sat and I wrote to them about my story, my sister, losing my sister, just feeling lost, and telling them that I came across their brand and I just was fascinated with it and it just like drew me in. So lo and behold to me, not even thinking I'd get a reply. The next day I got this huge letter from a guy named Arthur that worked at or is a founder of Youngo. And all of a sudden I just started buying their stuff, their clothes. They had amazing, amazing clothes, hats, socks, shirts, everything. And I literally became a Youngo addict. And they basically, anytime anything new came out, they're like, Lisa, because I just was buying everything. And at that time, I was not into social media at all. I hired a social media person to help me out, like create an account, I didn't know anything about the hashtags, tagging everything, so anyway, so that's started that. And then my social media coach said, you need to go to Youngo and say, hey, I want to be your brand ambassador. And I was like, what if they tell me no? And she's like, as much stuff as you have, they're
Yeah.
not gonna tell you no.
Yeah.
So I asked and they're like, "Oh my god, you're already practically our ambassador." So, yeah, so I became their brand ambassador, and then I would find people on social media that I found interesting, and then I'd reach out to them and say, hey, I see your social media. I think you're really interesting. Would you model this brand for me?
Yeah.
And so fast forward, I then started a podcast of my own years later. And one of my original models is my co host, Sunny, out of the UK. He had such an interesting story to me, and we became really, really good friends. And there was tons of people like that along the road. And then, Young Goat, they had a good friend of theirs that ended up committing suicide, and they gave back to Black Minds Matter. It it will always hold a special place in my heart. And unfortunately, the brand is no longer in business
Mhm.
through some stuff that was out of their control.
Sure.
And yeah, and it really, really broke my heart. Last year was the last year of it. And so yeah. So that's how I got started in the whole social media content, like, platform and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you at all ever like were you on social media ever before you kinda did that?
I was, but nothing like this. It wasn't like, "Oh my god, let me see how many followers." Like, if I had 200 followers, I was happy. But I mean, I don't even like, I don't call myself an influencer by any stretch of the means, but it's a lot of work. I
Yeah.
mean, it like to get up to like the 10,000 followers and stuff like that, it is a lot of work. But I was doing it. And now after, the company dissolved, it's like all the wind just went out of my sails. And I'm just like, I lost 2,000 followers. I'm like, it is what it is, it just
Mhm.
that passion for the social media because I didn't have Young Goat to promote was,
Mhm.
now I just do it, to promote my sister's charity and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But
Do
yeah.
you have you ever thought about, since Young Goat taking a little bit of a dive, have you ever thought about doing another brand or trying to work with another brand? Or did you just say like, if this one didn't work out, that maybe it's not meant to be or something like that?
Well, it's funny because before I knew what was happening with Youngo, I approached them and said, "Hey, let me take over the business." And it was something that we just couldn't do because of legal stuff. But
Sure.
but I met a guy through Youngo. His name is Pele, and he is now my personal trainer, and he works for a big um like he's into health and wellness. He does
Mhm.
personal training, and he's starting a thing called Mindset Movement. And it's funny because he is also in the UK, and he's starting a brand, and he's like texting me all the brand and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, this is great. I'll promote it." And he's like, "No, I know." So, that's I mean, right now that's all I don't know, it's because I had such a passion for Young Goat, and I'm like, "What do I do now?" It's like, do I start something? Do I don't? I
Yeah.
don't. So if you start something, I'll promote it.
I was gonna say, did you at any point want, like when you said, let me take over the business, would you have like completely owned the business? Like, was that the offer?
Well, that was my offer to them,
Yeah.
but there was no way we could do it because
Yeah.
of
Legalities and stuff.
mhm. Yeah, so, unfortunately, no, and I mean, I even asked the guys like, "Hey, let's start something else, let's rebrand it, let's do," and they're like, "Yeah,
They
no."
were they were burnt out on it? They
I
said, "Nah."
think so, and they're like, "We have to go get real jobs." So, which is fair, so
Yeah. I've always thought that it'd be really cool to be behind, like, a clothing brand of some kind. It'd be really fun.
yeah,
A lot of work for sure, but
yeah, oh, yeah, for sure, and this one, it was the meaning behind it, that's what I mean, it stole my heart, so that's why I was so
mhm.
on board with it, and I don't think I've found something like that since then, um, so who knows, maybe down the road I'll find something, but right now, like I said, we started a 501(c)(3) for my sister's foundation, and right now that's like our goals to get that out there.
Mhm.
With I mean, you've been a huge help with us for that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the foundation. So talk a little bit about the foundation.
Okay, so we call it LAF, which is Lorianne Foundation, named after my sister. And we give back to animals, and we also give back to mental health and organ donation. My sister was an organ donor, and people don't know, but your skin is your biggest organ. She donated 90% of her skin.
Wow.
We're big into the Donate America. And so we just gave a check to them. Every year we do a big golf tournament here in Arizona. It's called Puttin' for Paws. Gives back to, so we do it with another foundation called Adoptable Dog Rescue. And we have dogs out on the golf course. We help, like if there's a dog in need, we'll donate. My sister was a huge dog lover. So we started that after she passed, just to have her legacy live on and not forget.
Hmm.
And so it's actually been so amazing. My brother-in-law, and Lori's 2 children, Haley and Cameron, and myself, we, we're all part of the foundation, and my brother-in-law's brother, he helps out a lot during the golf tournament and everything, and it it's really good for my parents. Everybody, like the whole family, volunteers on that day, and it's March 30th this year. We do it around Lori's birthday, which was April Fool's Day. And so this is our 4th annual. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
so exciting.
Yeah.
It's really cool that, you always hear stories about how people wanna start something or they wanna start a foundation for something, but then, they do, and then it just kinda dies off, but you guys really put in the work. You guys really set up the what the
It's
heck is happening there?
yeah. I'm
It's
like, "Wait,
really
Lori."
went blurry a little bit, but, you guys put the work in and it shows. I mean, you've got this golf tournament. I mean,
Sells
since
out every year.
yes, I was gonna say since being the guy who, developed y'all's website this year, I see the emails come in every single time someone, submits something to register for the golf tournament, and I'm like, "Man, they really get the word out there." That's really cool. It is really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it's not easy. I mean, it is work. And to start a non for profit, people just think, "Oh, I fill out some forms and that's it." I mean, it is not it. I mean, it took us over a year to become a non for profit, and lawyers, and it's a lot of work. And even this golf tournament, it's like all hands on deck. I mean,
Mhm.
you're doing everything. And this year Mercedes is sponsoring a hole in one hole.
Wow.
We have a Mercedes on one of the holes. And then my sister has a beloved dog named Cooper, and Cooper's 12, Cooper with a K. And we do these packages, and for the dog related part of it, you can like buy the whole package, and we call it the Cooper chip.
Wow.
So, get Cooper involved. And it's a really, really fun time. We have people fly in for the event. Lots of our friends from Utah come in. It's a lot. I mean, we definitely work hard at it, and I think my sister would be extremely proud. She was always the life of the party, so this is a big
Absolutely.
one
I
for
mean,
her.
it's also really nice because you guys I really like that you guys dedicate the weekend every year
Mhm.
around the time. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's this weekend, isn't it? As we're
No, March
recording this?
30th.
30th, okay.
Oh, yep, March
Um,
30th. And then it's like last year, it happened to be on her birthday. So we ended up doing the tournament, and then we all came together and had a heavenly birthday party for her.
mhm,
This year it falls the day before Easter, so
yeah,
we'll all spend Easter together. So we definitely make a whole weekend about my sister, which
and
is
coincidentally, I think if I'm not mistaken, this weekend, the weekend that we're recording this is the weekend of that's why you're in Arizona this weekend is because she passed around this time, right?
She passed on Friday 4 years ago, yes.
Yeah.
And that is a promise I made to my niece, Haley and Cameron, that no matter where I am in the world, wherever they're at, I will always spend that day with them. And we have a huge family tradition we do on that day to celebrate her life. Um, and so we make it an entire day event. And I think, it's good for my parents, it's good for the kids. And we just, I'll always do that for them. Because
Yeah.
I want to celebrate their mom for them. And they lost her at a young age. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, funny enough, or maybe not funny enough, but coincidentally enough, um, on we're recording this on Sunday. 2 days from now is 2 years since Catherine's mom passed away. And we were actually talking about like what kind of traditions do we want to start for this? What do we want to do? And I even notated that you guys get together every weekend or every year that on the
Mhm.
weekend of and spend it with each other and you guys do a heavenly birthday party for her and you guys release balloons or something, don't
Yeah,
you also?
so, on the day of her passing, my niece and my nephew do her favorite things throughout the day. So, we go to her favorite coffee place, we go to her favorite grocery store, her favorite store she used to shop at, so we literally spend the entire day going to do my sister's favorite things, just the 3 of us, and then we come together for dinner, my brother-in-law, my parents, everybody, and we have her favorite dinner, same dinner every year. We set a place for her, and then we do a balloon release. And I have to say, this year was so crazy because it doesn't it doesn't storm in Arizona ever. So on Friday, which would have been the anniversary, it was raining, raining, raining. And so my brother in law said, "Hey, there's a break in the rain. Let's go do our balloon release." And I am not kidding you. The sky was on fire. And it was like, wow, like she is like here.
Oh yeah.
And it was epic. I mean, it was really cool.
Well,
So
that's really cool. I'm sure
yeah.
she's because you hear so many stories about when family members pass away, and then it like almost drives family members apart because they don't
Mhm.
have that connective tissue anymore that is like your sister. Like, how do you bridge? Was that ever difficult? I know you guys are all very close, but
Mhm.
when the spouse that connects the family together when their sibling dies, it's almost because now you just have Kenny and your niece and nephew. Like, was that ever difficult to bridge because, or you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think because my sister and Kenny were together since I mean, he took her to her senior prom.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so they have been together. Kenny's been a part of our life forever,
Yeah.
and, it to me, it brought us closer almost. Um, and it's funny because I was talking about my sister's dog, Cooper. And Cooper is it's funny. Cooper is part of my sister, and Kenny and my parents share Cooper. So, every Friday, my dad and Kenny meet, and give Kenny gives Cooper to my parents. Sunday night, Kenny comes, takes Cooper home.
Oh, that's
On
funny.
Wednesdays, Cooper comes for the day. So, it's almost like a divorced couple
I
sharing
know.
kids.
I was gonna say it's like a child handoff.
Exactly, and, so my parents see Kenny all the time, get to see Cooper, and the kids live, all within, proximity of my parents, so my parents see him all the time, and like I said, we were an extremely close family, and so Kenny, he comes to Park City every New Year's and spends it with my husband and I. I mean, I think because they were together for so long that
Mhm.
that was never gonna change, ever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, he's my brother. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they were as long as I can remember, so I was probably 16, 15 when they were, got together, so maybe even younger, so
Now, you
yeah.
know what's crazy here is now I'm thinking as you're talking, back when I was 10, 12, however old, had I ever met Lori? Probably,
Yes! She used to be at the house across street all the time, her and Kenny.
which is
Yeah,
crazy to think that all these years later, I would be helping
I
you
know,
guys
with her
memorialize
memory.
her in a weird indirect way by making the y'all's website, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's just crazy that when I was a kid, you just never know, and none of us
You
knew.
know, I know. So,
So,
yeah.
it's
And so, yeah,
insane.
so they used to come over all the time to swim and everything, and yeah, so you definitely met her
So
at some
then So then was Ha is Haley are Haley and Cameron and I all kind of the same age? Is how old's
so
Cameron?
Haley's 30, gonna be 30, and
Okay,
Cameron is 26, gonna be 26, I believe.
okay, so I'm right in between them. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
28 in a couple of
yeah,
weeks.
yeah,
Okay,
so
okay.
yeah, it's so crazy, but yeah, so the foundation, I mean, that is definitely something we knew we wanted to do, and, like I said, we have family. Kenny has family from Kansas that comes out for the golf tournament every year. So it's just something to celebrate her with. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if Lori is anything like you guys describe, obviously, I was so young to
Yeah.
I don't even remember, but if she would be the type that don't want you moaning and groaning all day about it. She would want you guys to be having a good time and getting together and celebrating
Oh, yeah.
rather than moping around about it. She wanted you guys to celebrate her life rather than mourn the loss.
Well, Victor put it good the other day when I sent him the picture of the sky on fire. He goes, "That's so your sister," and she would have had a arena concert at the end of it because she was always just ready to, be the life of the party and have a party and
Yeah.
everything.
Well,
So,
then, so you got Young Goat, which gets you with the mental health stuff. You've
yep.
got the foundation that's memorializing your sister and donating to charities and stuff and causes that she would have supported if she was still here. And
Mhm.
then you came about the idea to do 3 Ps. So like you said, you and Sonny had connected
Yes.
through the whole Young Goat thing. At what point did you guys think like let's do more than just talk about this. Let's make this happen.
Um, gosh, Sonny and I talked about it for a really, really long time. Actually, Sonny and I were like, hey, let's come up with a brand. And Sonny and I would brainstorm all the time.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, let's just keep supporting Youngo,
Yeah.
this being this, starting a brand is too hard,
Yeah.
especially with you in the UK and me here.
Right.
So so we just came up with like, hey, let's do a podcast. Sonny's got an interesting background. He I don't think he would mind if I shared. He, had a rough go at it and was,
Mhm.
incarcerated and got out and completely turned his life around.
Yeah.
He's got 2 absolutely beautiful children. He's got a stunning fiance. Um, when I met him, he had just, come out of jail and, he was not in a good place, not in a good place. And I was worried about him. I would call him often. If he went rogue for like 5 days, I'm like, I gotta get a hold of him.
Mhm.
And if I couldn't, I'd call his fiance, like, "Hey, have you heard?" Like, I'm worried about him,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Um, and so I said, "We need to do something." I said, "You've turned your life around." and he knew everything that I was going through. I said, "Hey, let's start a podcast and talk to people with mental health issues." And he said, "That's fantastic." I didn't know how to do it. I mean, what am I like? I didn't know anything. So of course I came to you. Well, help, Logan, help. So you definitely got us on the right track. And so we started, and it was the Three Ps podcast. Is Sunny and I are the two Ps, and our guest is the third P that makes up our pod. And we've had some interesting guests, all around mental health issues,
Yes.
addiction issues,
Yes.
um, people that have survived just crazy in their life. Just like the resilience of people is unbelievable.
For real, honestly.
Unbelievable. We've had guests in the UK, we've had guests in Greece, um, all over the
All over the
US.
world.
Yeah, yeah. And, I love to hear when somebody comes out on the other end and, is they made it through, and that is so important to me, because there's so many people that don't make it through and aren't here to tell their story. So I mean, one particular person that is in my head is Zara, that she went through hell and back,
Mhm.
and then hell again and back. And she's a survivor, man.
Mhm.
Um, it just yeah, it's unbelievable. And so, we kind of taken a break because then just on top of all this, I was like, I'm kinda need another purpose. I should go work part-time. So then I started working part-time, and it's like between me working and Sunny in the UK and me in the US, like the whole time difference. But we need to get back on, doing it, because I really enjoyed it. I love hearing people's stories, and so we need to get back at it.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's something you guys did once a month or even once every other month, I mean, it's still nice to be able to, especially for you two that are such good friends and have got so much in common and all your goals and your
Yeah,
experiences are very similar. Like you guys just staying in contact, doing that, it'll bring you even closer together.
yeah, yeah. And he cracks me up. He's such a ray of light, and you and I talked about like doing a podcast, having a co-host, and you said, "Oh, it's so hard having a co-host." And I'm like, "But he's got to be my co-host. He has to be. He brings so much to it."
Yes.
Cuz he's got a great sense of humor, and I don't know. I find him really fascinating and interesting, and just where he was 2 years ago when I met him is just
Mhm.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, just hearing you talk about how insane his journey has been. I mean, the few times that I've gotten to talk to him and listen to him talk, he's so wise for being so young because he was incarcerated. He probably had a lot of time. I don't know how long he was in for, but he had a lot of time to sit and reflect. And the guy that I know, I would have never thought served time or anything like that. He's a pretty extraordinary guy. I do like him a lot.
Yeah,
He's
great dad. I mean, his kids are stinking cute as heck, and
mhm.
so is his fiancée,
Yes.
but just
Yes.
now, total family guy, total family guy,
You'd
and
never
it's
know.
yeah, you never know, and he brings such a laughter to our podcast, and with his accent and his jokes and
Yes. His
everything.
UK humor that we don't get.
Yes. Which you don't get, because we always said we're gonna do a whole podcast on me not even understanding what he's
Yes.
saying. I'm like,
Yes.
"Wait, what does that word mean?" Like, when we interview somebody from the UK, and I'm like, "Okay, guys, come on. I know we speak English, but I have no idea what you're saying."
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's really cool. And we've met some interesting guests, like the watermelon guy in Mykonos in Greece. I mean,
Mhm.
fascinating. 14-year-old kid that anorexia. I mean, yeah, it's we've touched on a lot of bases. I've had the Young Goat guys on,
Sure.
speaking about their foundation or their brand and stuff and how we got to know each other.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's really neat. So I would like to really get back into it. Just gotta find the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing that's tough. I mean, about doing all the brand stuff and social media stuff. Like you said, it's not a walk in the park. I used to think before I started doing this stuff myself, I'd be like, oh, these people who make money off of social media, they have it so good. It's a lot of work
It
and
is
a lot of studying trends and studying
the algorithm. Like,
algorithms.
I'm like, "What? What
It's
is happening?" You
it's really
know?
confusing. One day
Yeah,
you could upload a video and get 300 views on it, and then the next day you upload a video at the same time and you'll get 6. So
yeah,
it
it's
it's
crazy.
crazy.
And then with all this that I done, I went to schools and spoke about my sister's story. I went to a
Yes.
school in Denver. I spoke to a school in Park City. Just my goal was it was um don't suffer in silence,
Mhm,
have the conversation and ask again. And the first one, don't suffer in silence, is my sister's story. The second one, ask and ask again, is Haley and Cameron's story. And the last one, have the conversation, was my story. And mental health is a huge thing, and people need to speak about it and have those conversations. And you have to ask and ask again how you are. How are you? Um, just to go back real quick on the Young Goat, they had an employee named Ollie that went to work with them every single day, went to work with them. Ollie came up missing, police looking for him, like, several days later, they found him at the bottom of a river. He had jumped off a bridge. Not one person knew he was suffering.
mhm.
And they went to work with him every single day,
Yeah, you'd
and
never
it's
know.
never know. And so that's why I feel like the part with my sister is, don't suffer in silence. You have to ask for help. As a friend, you have to just beat that horse, ask and ask and ask. So,
Mhm.
and that's what I did with Sonny. Like, if he went rogue for, several days, I would be like, "Oh my god." And it's not like I can drive over to his house. It's like I worried. I really, really worried. And so, yeah.
And one thing that I can personally advocate for, because I used to think that I used to be very closed-minded about this certain subject I'm about to bring up, and I used to really think, I don't wanna say down on people who did this, but I just always thought what could it possibly help? And that is therapy.
Mm,
So, at the beginning of the year, Catherine and I have both started going to therapy individual. We've gone to a couple
mhm,
together, but
mhm,
we have gone for different reasons. She's going for more a, how do I grieve my mom being gone? How do I keep this relationship with my dad? How do I be a good daughter, to only the guy, just my dad now? And then I go for other reasons as well. And you know what? I love therapy. I am obsessed with it. I look forward to it. I only
Mm.
go maybe once or twice a month, but
There you
it's
go.
enough, and it's
But, and it's interesting too because you say that because, I'm a huge advocate on therapy. I've been in therapy my whole life. I love it,
yeah.
because it's a non-biased opinion, and, it's interesting because so many people are like, "Oh, I tried therapy. I didn't like it. I did." The thing is you have to find the right therapist. And you may not get the right therapist at the first time, but keep trying to find the right therapist,
Yes.
and a lot of people that I know that have lost people that go to grief therapy, they're like, oh, I couldn't. And I'm like, that's because you're not connecting with your therapist. Find somebody that you connect with, and it makes such a huge difference in your life. You know, I like I said, I've been going to therapy for so long. And it's not even if I have a problem, it's just to talk about life and get their perspective on it. You know, um, and like for you, like I'm sure it's hard for you as a husband to have your wife lose her mom at such a young age. Like how as a husband do you support your wife through her grief?
Mhm.
Some days are worse than others,
Yeah.
and, I it's tough. And so I commend you for doing that because I think, I it has such a stigma to
Mhm.
it, but hey, there's a lot of people out there that need it.
There is, and that's what's crazy is I've known for years that I probably should go, but
Mhm.
I've always just been like, who cares? It's not that big of a deal."
Did you
But
go into it with an open mind? Like, when you was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go now."
yeah.
Did you go
Yeah.
in with an open mind? Did you go in kicking and screaming? Like
I went in with an open mind.
okay,
I
good.
will say for the first maybe 10, 15 minutes of my first session, I was just like, "Oh, this is weird.
You
This is like what you see in the movies. There's a big couch." And I even asked her, my, therapist, I was like, "Should I lay down?" And she was like and she laughed, and she was like, "Everybody asks that question." And she said, "You can lay down if you want to, but most people just sit up straight." And I said, "Okay, I'll just sit up straight."
I had been going to the same therapist for years, and I would be like, "Ah," on the couch, but
And
then, I'm like,
I just love going, even if I
"Yeah."
don't have anything. I mean, I've discovered in the 4 or 5 sessions that I've gone to, I have realized and come to so many conclusions that I never would have come with on my own, or somebody that knows my life. Catherine and I would have never reached these conclusions. It was
That's
only with somebody, like you said, that is unbiased towards your life, that is like, "Well, think about it this way," or, "What do you think about this?" or, "What do you think about that?" And I don't know how many times in the last couple sessions I've been like, "Oh my god, another epiphany. I can't
yeah,
believe how many things that I have come to grips with or come to."
terms.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just you'd never even so anytime someone brings up therapy in a negative light, I won't sit there and bash on them, but I'll say, "Hey, man, don't knock it till you try it because
And you
I
know
love
what's
it."
so interesting is you made a comment to me, and you probably never know this. You made a comment to me when you lived across the street. You were what, 12, 13, and you guys moved a lot
Yeah,
for your dad's work, a
yeah.
lot. And you said, why am I always having to be the new kid?
Mm,
And I'll never forget that, and it was interesting because I said, he's so right. He's not a military brat,
mhm,
you know, but your dad moved a lot for work, and every 3 years you guys were moving, and I
mhm,
was like, "God, it's gotta be so hard." And you had said that I think you said it to your mom, and your mom told me, and I was like, "God, that is right. Like, why do I always have to be the new kid?"
mhm.
You know? And so moving so much and, that would be hard for a kid, I'm surprised you didn't go to therapy before this, you know?
Well, what's funny is I have figured out, not to blame my parents for anything, but I have figured out that a lot of my issues that I have today are because of my, not, I don't want to say my upbringing, because that paints my parents in a negative light, because I have great
Oh,
parents.
you had a blessed child.
Yes, I had a great childhood, and, but it's just so funny how the things that you do as a kid, or the things your parents do when you're a kid, shape who you are as an adult.
Mhm.
Um, because you know what's funny? As long ago as that was, I feel like I've said that. I do remember saying that, because for a
You
long time it
did?
was hard, and
Yeah.
it's just thinking about it when people are like, "Oh man, I don't know how you did that." Every single time I'm like, "I don't know how we did either." I
And,
mean,
and you think about, like, my husband Victor, like, his best friend, they met at 4 years old, but you moved so much that did you have those, like, everlasting friendships? And I'm sure you do now, but it was like, because we always went to the same school and so, yeah, it's gotta be tough. It
it was
would have
it
been tough.
it was it's always, every once in a while, I hate using the P word, the privilege word. I hate the privilege word so much, but you
Blessed.
never. Huh? What?
I said blessed.
Yes. Well, what I was gonna go with that was the privilege of
Mm,
getting to grow up with people. Like, I never would have thought about, like, somebody will say, "Oh, yeah, I've known them since went to kindergarten," or something like that, and I'll say, "Man, that must be nice to have known the same people your entire life."
yeah, yeah.
Whereas every 3 years, I have to say goodbye, and most of them I don't ever see or talk
Yeah,
to
yeah,
again.
yeah,
I talk to maybe one person, if that, from Arizona. I
yeah.
talked to, gosh, I probably talked to, I can probably count on both my hands how many people I talk to that don't live in Georgia from
Yeah,
all the
see,
moves.
it's not and see, for me, I was in Arizona my whole entire life, and then we moved overseas, and
Mhm,
then it wasn't till when I was married, us moving and moving and moving, and so I didn't do it as a young child, I did it as an adult,
mhm,
and as an adult, we don't have kids, so it was easy, and now to me, I feel blessed, privileged because I have
yeah,
so many friends all over the world
yeah.
because we lived at, such an older age versus being a young child, moving, and it's so much harder to make friends. So,
But I do also feel, though, that doing it, I'm glad that we did it as a kid,
mhm,
because that has enabled me to be as social as I am.
yeah,
I'm probably the most social person I know.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that's because I did have to start fresh and be the new kid every few
ev
years.
yeah.
So it just got to the point where I had it down pat, of like, "Okay, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
in, I'm gonna,"
Logan Lewis.
basically. So
Yeah.
I don't get nervous when I have to meet a bunch of people that I don't know. Give me 5 minutes and I'll be.
Well, let me ask you this, because Victor and I used to move every 4 years, and, this is the longest we've been in one place in Utah for 5 years now, and I'm like, "Oh my god, where are we going next? Where are we going?" Like, I'm starting to get the itch. You're like, "I'm in Georgia, I'm not leaving Georgia, I'm here for good." Is that
I do think that Georgia is gonna be the place that I'm buried.
okay?
But
Well, like, Kane Brown song, "Bury Me in Georgia."
yeah, that's it. But I will say, though, I mean, I am no as you know, I am never opposed to a good opportunity.
Yeah, of
So
course.
if something came up and it was just too good to refuse, I would move.
Yeah,
But however, I really don't think it's likely that Catherine would want me to take it, because
this
she
is home.
just
That's
she's been a Southern girl her whole life. So the thought of her moving across the country would be really difficult for her.
Hey,
But
Logan, here's from a very, very close Italian family, never lived more than 20 minutes from my family,
yeah,
and dinners every Sunday and Wednesday night. And Victor comes home and says, "Oh, we're moving. Not only are we moving, we're moving to Australia.
yeah,
Um, let's go tell your family."
yeah,
How do you think that went over?
not great.
No.
Yeah,
But let me tell you, best thing I ever did in my life.
moved to Australia.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. It gave me such independence. I literally sought my mother's approval for everything. Even as an adult, it's like, "Mom, what do you think of this couch? Mom, what do you think of this? Mom, what do you think of that?" And going around the world and not having your family there, it's you grow up.
You got to figure
Even
it
though
out.
I was in my 30s, it was like you grow up and it's like, "Okay, I'm living now." And it made me such a stronger person. Um, and then just, then leaving Australia, going to Park City, having to start over, meet people, and then going to San Francisco, starting over, and now going back to Utah. So, yeah, and I won't be buried in Utah. I'm ready for the next adventure.
I was just going to ask, what are the odds that you guys move again?
Um, Definitely good. Well, so this is what I say, since I'm, the only living child left and my parents are well, my dad's in his 80s, my mom's close to 80. I can't go anywhere far.
Hmm.
Um, but my dream is to not live in the US. God forbid my parents pass and stuff. And, I there's a whole beautiful world out there. It needs exploring. I
Hmm.
told my niece and nephew, leave Arizona. There's so many other places.
Yeah.
It's amazing world out there. And it's interesting because I think kids in the US, like, when I went to Australia and kids are 16, 17 backpacking, like, through Indonesia, Japan, I would be like, "Oh my gosh, I would never, ever, ever even consider that." I think kids are so much open overseas to travel and exploring than kids in America.
Hmm.
That's my
I
perspective.
I definitely can see that based
Mhm.
on just from what I hear and what I see also. People seem very close-minded and very to themselves here, whereas overseas people seem just more open.
Oh, 1,000%. And two, living overseas, it's like, if you said, "Oh, I'm going on vacation, I'll be back in a week," they're like, "A week? You're only going for a week?" Like, I mean, it's like, "Oh, okay, should I go for 4 weeks? 4 or 6?" It's like, go
Yeah,
explore it. I think the US, it's all work, 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 and a lot of other places, they have a good work-life balance, so
sure.
yeah. But, going circling back to therapy and stuff, it's interesting when I lost my sister, I said, I was the only person in my family that went to grief therapy, and everybody grieves it differently, and there's no right or wrong. But I knew I needed to go, so I went to grief therapy. I had a life coach, and I did a lot of energy work. Um, and that really, really helped, the process of it. Because then I lost my sister, and then no sooner later, a year later, I lost my best friend in
Mhm,
a really horrific accident, and
mhm,
I was not in a good place at all. Um, we moved to this particular place in Utah because of my best friend and her husband, and, yeah, I lost her. So it was I said, "I can't. I have to do everything I can to," because now here's Haley Cameron without a mom.
Mhm.
Here's my best friend's only child without a mom, and I stepped up and, I'm definitely not their mom. I'm not gonna, ever claim to be, but these kids are important to me.
Mhm.
I needed to be there.
Mhm.
So, yeah. It's tough. I mean, everybody says COVID was awful, and I said, "COVID was such a blessing for me because I had Victor home with me all the time during my grief, and I got to spend that entire year with my best friend. She was my pod, my COVID pod, and then right after COVID, she was killed, so, yeah,
Dang.
yeah, so,
Well,
yeah.
Lisa, whenever I interview folks, I like to take the back portion of the interview and ask every guest the same collection of questions. Those questions are they're very, very surface level questions for the most part.
Okay.
There's a couple deep ones, but for the most part, they're like first date questions. And it's
Okay.
just to kind of bring everything back and whether I'm sitting across from, you know, uh, Keith Urban or my parents, everyone's got an answer for these questions.
Okay. Hit me.
So I'm about to hit you with some good ones. Number one, what is your favorite movie?
Oh, God. Wow. I don't even know if I have a favorite movie.
If you're
Chick flick. I love Bridesmaids.
there you go. That's a good one. That's
Definitely
a
a
good
chick
one. Oh,
flick.
for sure, for sure. Um, rank these 3 dips, salsa, guac, and queso.
Queso, guac,
Salsa.
salsa. I'm not a
Okay.
tomato fan.
No, neither am I much.
Yeah,
I'm
being
not
Italian and I'm not a tomato fan. How crazy
right?
is
I was
that?
gonna say, I don't care for salsa that's, like, chunky with the chunky
Me
tomatoes in it.
neither.
If it's
What's so funny is I even if I buy paste at the grocery store, I puree it because I cannot stand the chunks.
I hate chunks. If I eat anything and it's got chunks of anything, I'm immediately
Uh,
turned off.
yeah,
I'm
and
out.
no cilantro. Ugh.
Yes. Yes. Um, how about this? 3 artists you get to listen to for the rest of your life, their music.
Mm.
You get their existing catalog and then anything else that they put out in the future.
Well, the number 1 is my favorite band of all times. I've seen them 13 times in concert, and hold on.
Okay.
This is funny. Actually reading his book right now. Um, Rush.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
My favorite band ever.
Very cool.
On January 10th, Neil Peart died, who was the drummer of Rush,
Yes.
in 2020, and I cried like a baby
Really.
because I knew I would never, ever see the 3 of them again, ever, and I
Damn.
did see their farewell tour in Salt Lake City. So, yep, 13 concerts I've been to for them, and great book. It's Geddy Lee's My Effing Life. So, definitely Rush, Keith Urban, absolutely love, and I would say maybe, like, old school REO Speedwagon, Journey,
Okay.
something like that.
I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah.
Um, next one. What does your ideal no obligations, stress-free Saturday look like? You're in control of the day.
Winter or summer?
Let's say summer.
Uh, a nice round of golf with Victor.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
How cute.
Cute.
Couple goals.
Yeah. And then if it was winter, nice ski day, a little après, cocktails afterwards.
There you go.
Cooking, love to cook, like golf and cooking, having friends over, love to cook and entertain.
Yes. Yes.
Since I'm entertaining your family for the next 9 days.
I don't know. They're there for a while, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They are.
Well, good luck
It's
with
gonna be a
that.
blast.
Dang. I'll go next time, I promise.
Okay.
So here's one. If you and Victor are apart for the evening and he says, I'm not going to be around for dinner, so make whatever you want. Or hey, I'm doing this, make whatever you want, or go get whatever you want. What are you getting for yourself
Pizza,
or making for yourself? Pizza? Hell,
1000%.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love pizza so much.
Well, another good question I'll ask you. You're
Okay.
stranded on a desert island. You can only eat one genre of food, like Japanese, Italian, whatever. What would it be?
Probably, God, probably Italian so I can have pizza.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of people say Japanese because they're like, oh, you could get fish, chicken. And I'm like, you can get that in Italian too. Fish, chicken. Yeah.
That's true. That's
I
true.
absolutely pizza's my Italian
Yeah,
food's my go-to
I agree. I'm with you. I'm
always.
with you.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Um, what if you're getting a little crazy? What is your go-to karaoke song?
oh my god, I knew you were gonna ask me that. We just went to karaoke last night.
And how'd it
Uh,
go?
my nephew's friend said, "Hey, will you be the Sheryl Crow to my Kid Rockin' picture?"
Did you do it?
No, we did it because it was like we were like number 42 to sing. But my nephew's girlfriend she's saying Baby Got Back.
Wow, I love karaoke. I wish I did it more.
Yeah, so we went to karaoke. That's a great song, you know. I'm an awful singer, so I don't but you know what song I can sing? And it's funny because we were out last weekend and at some friends' house, and you're gonna die laughing. I know every single word of it. And it's Paul Revere by the Beastie Boys.
That's amazing. I have to see that someday.
Oh God, it's a shocker.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Hello, I'm still here, camera.
yeah.
Um,
And what's your go-to?
oh God, I don't know. Probably either some Aerosmith
Mm.
or maybe Chattahoochee by Alan
Oh,
Jackson.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, God, what's
That's a
that
good
song?
one.
What's that song? It's escaping me right now, but uh, oh well. Yeah, Chattahoochee by Al Jackson probably. It's a
Yeah,
fun one.
he's
Um,
good. Yeah.
here's a little bit of a deep one. What does success look like to you?
Mm. Hmm. You know, it's so funny. My life coach asked me that one time,
Hmm.
and I told her my answer was standing at the top of the podium.
What podium?
The podium for me would be Lorianne's foundation, a huge success.
Hmm.
Um, getting just, helping people on their journey of mental health, um, if it's a good marriage, a good, just to me, it's because when you're on the top of the podium, you're the best,
Mhm.
you've succeeded. And to me, it's standing on top of the podium of life, of everything. And to me, that's success. And, and I want my legacy to, be that, hey, I gave everything to my sister's charity. I gave everything to, my niece, my nephew, who I am as a person. So just giving back.
Amazing, amazing.
Um,
Um, Similarly, what is your happy place?
my happy place is home, being with the dog, Victor. I absolutely love spending all my time with the kid, Haley and Cameron. I mean, they're my world.
Mhm.
And yeah, just being home with family.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
Are you a coffee drinker?
Ye And this is awful because I absolutely do not like this coffee, but
Yeah.
my mom
Well,
and dad don't have our, Breville
yeah,
machine here, so
I understand.
yes.
What's your if you're making coffee at home or you're going to get it out, what's your coffee order?
So I love a good strong coffee. I like a double shot, little splash of lactose-free milk and some sugar, and that's it.
Good.
Now in the evening, I love a good affogato.
Yeah.
Mhm. Good espresso martini.
Oh, Catherine is obsessed with espresso
Oh
martinis.
my god. Well, she's gotta come over because Victor makes a hell of an espresso martini.
Really? Okay, I'll have to pass them we'll have to come through.
Yes, yes, yes.
What is, your biggest fear?
Hmm. My biggest fear, ooh, gosh, Logan. I would say my biggest fear, my what I absolutely don't like, is letting people down.
Mhm.
Um, my biggest fear is, God, just not I don't wanna say not being successful, but not, I have, like, these visions in my head of what I want the remainder of my life to be, and if it doesn't turn out that way, I think I would have failed. You know, I think one of my biggest failures has already happened, and that was not helping my sister.
Mhm.
You know, I shoulda did more.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that is something that I have to live with.
Mhm.
But I think that's something that has already happened. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so you know, just I think if not, you know, being the best daughter I can be, aunt I can be, wife, to me that would be a failure. I feel like, being a little sister and not helping when I saw signs, so
Mhm.
to me that is my biggest failure.
Mhm.
So
I
that's
understand.
sweet.
Yes. Yes. Um,
Thanks, I didn't think I'd cry.
I know, I know. Um, One or a couple more. When you get home from work, and I'm curious to know Victor's answer to this as well. When you and Victor get home from work, there's two types of people in the world. There's the people that as soon as they get home, they change into lounging clothes. And then
Uh-huh.
there's people that leave their work clothes on through dinner and maybe even all the way up until they go to bed. What kind of people are you guys?
Victor's definitely a leave his clothes on.
Really?
Yes, I am a leave the top on, but change into like yoga pants or
Yeah.
sweatpants. But yeah. But now in the summer, I think it's more I then switch into like loungy or like
Yeah.
shorts and a shirt or something
Yeah.
like that. But Victor's definitely he keeps his clothes on until like he takes a shower before bed.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
I
Victor,
thought
Victor,
you were gonna
Victor.
say, am I the type of person that comes home from work and naps or goes and does things?
Well, in that case, what's your answer to that one?
Well, it used to be nap all the time.
Yeah.
But I get off early. I get off at 2, you know. But I have my ritual. If I'm not like going to get a massage after work or something, I go home, I watch a, 2 of my favorite shows, and that's it. And then I'll start cooking dinner or something.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Um, and then lastly, a little fun one that everybody's got opinions about. There's a part A and a part B to it. So part
Okay.
A is, do you believe aliens exist?
No.
Okay. Any reasoning?
God, I just never even thought about it.
Mhm.
But no, I don't know. I don't think no.
Okay, then part B is, do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in spirits.
Mhm.
Um, if you woulda asked me this 5 years ago, I woulda said no.
Mhm.
But since losing my sister and things, some things have, like things have
Happened.
happened, and yes, I do.
Yeah. I
Spirits. I don't believe it's more so a ghost. I believe it's a spirit that's coming, like, back.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
More yeah, ghost is such a, I don't almost wanna say childish term.
Yeah.
It's more of like, yeah, do you believe in spirits hanging around or visiting sometimes? I certainly do.
I do. And it's funny because, and this is what's crazy is, like, I've had several experiences, but then it's like of people that I've lost, like, close to me
Yeah.
that I've lost, and then, like, I've had some where I haven't had any at all, and I'm like, "Oh my god, like, why won't they come to me?" Like, it's
Yeah.
like almost me like, "Please come,"
Yeah.
But I would have never believed in it, and it's crazy.
It's kinda freaky.
It is freaky, and when you tell people that don't believe in it, they're like, "Oh, please, you're full of it."
They think you're crazy, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Does
Oh, yeah.
does Catherine believe in him?
I think so. I actually don't know if I've had that talk. I think she believes that, well, because to my knowledge, I don't think, at least maybe she hasn't told me, but I don't think she's experienced anything
Mm,
with her mom.
mhm,
But I've certainly experienced things with my dad's parents,
mhm,
but I don't know if she's ever experienced any kind of event or something moving or a light flickering or something like, I don't know if she has actually, so I might have to ask her after this because I don't know.
so, there's 2 so I've had my sister, like there, like,
Yeah.
next to me. And then one time, me, Haley, Cameron, and Cameron's girlfriend, Kaya, we were on Lori's death anniversary, we were all out doing her favorite things,
Mhm.
and we were in a store, and none of us were together. We were, like, at different parts of the store, and her song came on,
Mm.
and we all, like, sought each other out in this store and, like, came together, and we had to video it because we're like, "Holy hell, it's her death anniversary, we're all together." We
Mhm.
just randomly happened to be in one of her favorite stores, and then this song came on, and we were like, "How trippy is this?" And we're like, "She's here with us," you know?
Mhm.
Like, she wanted us to know that she was there.
Absolutely did. Yeah, she absolutely wanted people
So
to know
crazy.
that it was
Yeah,
happening.
yeah, so
That's crazy.
crazy.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and it's interesting because, I always kinda get so my sister passed in this house that I'm in,
Yeah.
and, I always thought, "Oh, she'd always come back here," you know, and, nothing has ever happened in this house. It's happened in my house in Utah, but not here, and it's like, it's so weird that it hasn't happened here.
Do you ever wonder or have you talked to your parents? Have they experienced anything?
They haven't. They
Wow.
haven't. Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's so interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's funny because we've had these long talks about, like, as my parents get older, what do you do with the house, and my nephew wants to live in this house, and, so yeah, and I always thought that, "Oh, if somebody ever died in a house, oh my god, I don't wanna, like, live in it and
Yeah.
stuff," but
Yeah.
it's like, I don't think that at all.
No. I
Yeah,
mean, the only way that I would that would turn me off is if they
I know.
said someone was murdered or something in this house,
Mhm.
or somebody
Committed suicide
or not even that, but
Oh,
more just like a brutal,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
someone was kidnapped and murdered or, raped and murdered or, so like, something like
Yeah,
really
yeah,
truly
no, I
horrifying. Like,
but I would have thought, like, before, like, I'm like, "Oh, I'm never gonna lay on that sofa, I'm never gonna," like,
yeah,
and it's totally not even that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
But
yeah,
I know you said Catherine's mom, her death anniversary is soon, and I think, we have a good friend Victor's best friend, his son died a year ago Monday, and I really for me, having something that you do celebrate something with them. I think that's such a good healing thing, and maybe you and Catherine could come up with something. Um, I think it would be really neat for her, to
yeah.
just come up with something.
I know
Ye
for sure that we're gonna do dinner we're gonna make tacos because her mom loved Mexican food.
Yeah,
So we're gonna make tacos at home and make little margaritas and
yeah,
do
yeah.
something like that because I know her mom's favorite movie was Fried Green Tomatoes. So
Oh, cute,
we're
yeah.
gonna watch Fried Green
Yeah,
tomatoes.
yeah, see, and that to me is real special, and,
Yeah.
it makes the day easier.
Mhm.
Because 'cause
Yeah.
you're celebrating them, so, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well,
Well,
this wasn't too long, and
no. I hope I didn't take you're the one that's doing things with family this weekend.
hey, you know me, I love doing these things, and, you know, you and I have been wanting to do this for so long, and I know you've been wanting Miss Haley on here too, but I don't think she's ready yet.
I understand.
So,
One
yeah.
day.
One day. One
One
day.
day. I'd like to do it with her in person. That'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
but maybe we'll see one day.
Hey, and maybe one day me and Sunny will come on with you.
That'd be amazing. I'm game.
You and I would be lost, but
Yes, we would. Yes, we would. But, we'd figure it out. We'd figure our way through it.
exactly, exactly. So,
Well,
oh, of
everybody, first, Lisa, thank you for your time and
course, of
for
course.
doing this and sharing your stories and your experiences and everything. I know it's not always easy, but I certainly appreciate you spending this time with me today.
Well, and I personally want to thank you for everything you have done for me, for Lori's foundation, for my family to get all this word out and everything. I literally, Logan, I'm not kidding you. I could not have done it without you. Um, I didn't even know half the stuff existed that. And then you send me this other streaming thing, and I'm like, what is this? so so thank you for everything that you have done to help me and help Lori's foundation and everything. So thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime. I do it 10 times over.
Well, I appreciate
Of course.
it.
Um, Everybody, if you enjoyed our conversation today, do me a favor and go look at the Lorianne Foundation website. Check out their story, their very beautifully crafted website that I might have done. Go check out Three Piece Podcast. Go listen to the episodes they've had. Subscribe so that you're there for their future episodes when they get back together and do some more. And then just make sure you
Yeah,
follow us along so you can see the wonderful clips that we'll have for this episode and all of our future episodes. And yeah, thanks so much, Lisa. I appreciate it.
thank you, Logan.
Of
Thank
course.
you. All right.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.